Many people believe that the Enneagram is a personality typing system, while in my opinion, it's a map to you. So basically, if you understand that all 9 types are actually 9 parts in your nervous system, in your holistic being, then you have the ability to, I would say, reconnect to your holistic self that you were not, I would say, be able to connect in the very beginning, because the awareness system that we start with limits us. And this is what true self-awareness is, that you get to a point where you become aware that now this is possible. And in this video, this is the second part of the series. I'm going to draw down the structure for you so you can understand yourself and all of these, I would say, 9 parts within you. So in my previous video, I talked about the very, very basics. Why it's even a 9, why it's not 8, why it's not 10 or 2. And I explained that we have 3 parts in the nervous system and 3 levels in the awareness system. So what this means is that we have the polyvagal theory. So we have a vagus nerve at the back of the body. This goes up, and we have another one in the front of the body that comes down. And this is basically how you perceive reality, that energy comes up from the back of the body, goes to the head, and the head is going to determine what that, I would say, energetic surge is, depending on the maturity of your mind. That's why therapy, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, can really help you, because it can restructure your mind. So if you change your mindset, that can really help you shift how you feel, because this mindset is going to determine what this is. It's going to translate it, and it's going to send down a signal. And this is basically what makes you feel. This is how you feel. So this is how you can change your feelings, by changing your mindset, by changing your thoughts. And we also have a third one. So this is in the 3 dimension. We have the third energetic one as well, but that's in the very, very middle of us. This is the Kundalini line. And in my opinion, this is in the 2nd dimension, because we can't see it when we open up someone, but it can be very, very clearly felt in a Kundalini awakening. So this is how we have the 3 energetic parts that are vertical. And then we have the horizontal one, and these are the awareness types. We have the we have the reptile level. This is the most basic one. Then we have a more advanced one, that's the mammalian system. And then the third one is the primate level. This is the cognitive one. And this is how we have the 9 parts. And in this video, I really want to show how you can start basically integrating with your holistic self, because there is a rhythm in it, there is a logic in it. So firstly, I'm going to show you how it looks like in your body. So this is going to be the reptile level. Then this is going to be the mammalian level, and this is going to be the primate level. And when we see it from the energetic self, this is at the back of the body, this is in the middle, this is the Kundalini line, and this is where we have the centers, the intelligence centers, and this is basically the front of the body. And as you can see, it doesn't matter where you go. These are dualities or blocking each other. So Enneagram 8 is going to be a more aggressive type. That's why it's the plus. 9 is going to be a more withdrawn part or type. That's why it's minus. This is the anxious type of, I would say, energy. And this is a more aggressive type of energy. And when you see it, it kind of goes like this. Enneagram 3, it's also a more aggressive one. And then Enneagram 7 is going to be, I would say, also connected to this energetic part. And then we have another one. This actually comes down. This starts from 6. Then here we have 2. And here we have 9. So basically, there is a block anywhere you go. And the way you should imagine is that This is the very first one that is active when you are a baby, probably until about 1.5 years old. So all of these are there basically, but they are in your outside world. You will only experience this from your outside world, which are basically your parents and close relatives and whoever you meet at that time. So only this one is active, and this is going to be your delta brainwaves. If you look at the brain scans of children, you can see that this is the only one that is active. And then as we mature, we have another type of nervous system activating, and this is going to be the mammalian system. This is the attachment. But what you have to truly realize here is that some people are going to stay in Enneagram 8 predominantly. These are going to be the psychopaths. So their experiences are going to be so harsh that they will get no attachment to the caretaker, because either they were born with some type of, I would say, genetic disorder, or the parent figure cannot be trusted, and they learn that they can only rely on themselves. So basically they get stuck here. And only if you get connected to 9, which is an anxious type of energy, so it can come by 2 things, by the way. Either you trust the caretaker because they are really loving, you have really good experiences, so you get here and you kind of can go on this attachment part. Or the other option is that you just don't trust yourself at all. You cannot connect to this one, so basically you move here. And then we get to this mammalian level. So if you are able to connect to this, that's when these 2 become active. But this is where you can see a split already, because when you are a 2, you focus too much on the partner and on the caretaker. So you can already see a huge split, that you are not connected to your own needs. You are not connected to, I would say, what you want. You are connected to and focused on what the other person wants. So this is where we can see, I would say, the strongest expression of depending on another person. But here we depend on the other person's, what we get from the other person, and we crave love. And the overcorrection of that is going to be on the same level. It's Enneagram 3. And this is where you can see that it's connected to 8. And this is where we can see, I would say, 2 types of people. One type is going to be who is spoiled, basically. Anything they do with the mental part. So here we can see that this is now the person, but this mental part is outside. So this is represented in the external reality. That's why until age 8, 9, that's when our critical filter is going to kick in. This is the critical filter that we are able to judge. And that's why it's very important when you are a parent to be aware of this, because this is basically the subconscious here, that anything you say before age 8, 9, when the critical filter is active, is going to go directly in the subconscious. So the person doesn't have this option to say that what the external world says is wrong. So basically all the trauma gets in, and it's going to be very, very difficult to overcome, because it's not connected to the head part yet. It's connected to this emotional part. So basically, for example, if you keep telling your child that you are stupid, you are a failure, they don't have the ability to have a mental, I would say, analytical way of saying is that, okay, what my parent says is incorrect because of this and that and whatever. They take everything as 100% truth. So basically, until the child doesn't have this part fully active, you are basically the God who creates this part. And when we want to see it with brainwaves, Enneagram 2 is going to be more connected to theta brainwaves. This is this deep child self who is very naive, because the 6th part is not active yet enough, and 7 to basically have everything that this one doesn't have. This can be a very naive person. Of course, everything is on a spectrum because the oxytocin here is extremely active and it gives you that trust part so much that you don't even know why you trust the person. And 6 is going to be the overcorrection of that you will become suspicious. And on the other hand, the opposition of 2 is 3. 2 wants to focus on the partner so much. 3 is also very, very emotional, but they have the ability to push them away and to move away from the partner a lot easier. And also 3 is the one that I would say wants to be available to have a partner all the time. So these people are going to be, I would say, looking better generally compared to the general population. Or the other version of that is that they just have a much higher self-esteem. And this is the one that's coming from these 2 options, that either the parents keep telling them that they are very perfect, they are whatever. So this mental part is going to be connected that you are good, you are validated. Or they can have a type of parent, and that is going to be a 6 type of person who are always put down. So a 2 is different because they are more of a neglected type of children. So the mental part doesn't get connected to 2. It's more like neglect, and you figure out your own ways, and they really want, or they really crave to be close with the caretaker, and then later on with a partner. And 6 is going to be similar as well, but they have this upper part that they are hurt. That's why they are in the head part, that this is going to be, I would say, stronger in them, that the craving to be in a loving relationship because they experienced hurt so much, and their parents were more authoritarian, that they were telling what to do, how to behave, and they were only loved when they behaved in a certain way. So they weren't neglected, they were more like in an authoritarian relationship with the parents. And this is where we can see the similarity that both of them, 2 and 6, are going to feel that they are the empath. This is their, I would say, internal idea about themselves. Because as you can see, when you have a minus, an anxiety type, you give yourself up to the external world. But the difference here is that a 2 is going to crave the admiration and the love of the partner more than 6. 6 is going to crave this more from the public. So here you have group thinking and larger, I would say, things, larger connections. So as you can see here, we go from 1 into 2, or very close relationships, and here we go even bigger in a number. And they will crave, and also 3 is going to crave the love and admiration of a larger group. That's why they can move away from this part of themselves. This is the child self into the adult self, where they feel that they are more in control of themselves. And this is what the biggest fear of 6, that they lose control. So basically, they won't behave in a way that is accepted from them if they are a phobic one, because 6 has a phobic and a counterphobic part. And the counterphobic is going to be, I would say, more connected to 7, because 7 really wants excitement and their own experiences. And they are more connected to the body. So anything that's in a plus is more of a, I would say, body-based and getting closer to yourself type of a way of seeing things. And we can see it as well that 7 is going to be, I would say, closer to what they think, what they want, compared to a 6 who is closer to what the social norms want. And they are going to, I would say, looking for norms. They are going to look for signs to feel secure. And as you can see, they both have, or all have, a center. So one is basically right and wrong. This is what we say. But in reality, in my opinion, these are breaking points. So this one is going to represent actually the female and the male hormones. And when you are in the mother's womb, you make a decision very early on if you are going to be a male or a female. And this is basically that you have to choose one out of the 2. You don't have the enough energy or whatever to choose both, because you don't have that type of awareness. And if you really think about it, a male is going to be more connected naturally to 8, and the female is going to be more connected naturally to 9. And in my opinion, what truly happens is that because we are in a female body, and this one is like anything that is anxiety is basically submerge or emerge with the external world. So basically, this is going to copy what's the external world. That's a mother. A mother is a female, and the baby girl is going to be a female. And the boys are not going to agree what is here. And this is what we see. We see this split, that they were here for a certain time, but they didn't like it. So they split, they reject this part. And this is how they move predominantly into 8. And this is going to be the reason, I believe, that when we see the general population, the most aggressive male is going to be a lot more aggressive than the most aggressive female. So we can believe in equality, but in reality, we cannot really devalue this very, very core part. And we can see the overcorrection in the babies, that a baby boy, like here, it's very connected to the internal world. Actually, the overcorrection of that is that they are very, very connected to the external world. So the boy is going to be more focused on naturally to things that are outside of them, while a baby girl, you can see they are very connected to the external world, but they are going to be more interested in games or anything that is more connected to their internal world. And this is where we can see that natural overcorrection that is happening in these two. And that's why I believe that guys are going to be more connected to the social world, and they want to be the leader of society, and this is how they feel that it's fulfilled. And for a female, it's going to be more connected to nurturing and more connected to feeling. And now I'm going to explain how you can become whole and how we can add the unconscious, subconscious, and conscious elements to it. So first of all, we have to understand that this has actually two different parts or two different ways of saying that. Naturally, we have an unconscious part, and this is the Kundalini line. This is basically Enneagram 1, 9, and 8, and that's in the second dimension. And these are delta brainwaves. These are the most further away of us, and we don't have control anything that's unconscious. We cannot think ourselves to, I would say, stop being anxious. Then one level above that, so this is the reptile level, we have the subconscious that we can call subconscious. That's the mammalian system. These are the emotions, these are the attachments, Enneagram 2, 3, and 4. And then one level, this is theta and alpha brainwaves. So we have basically two types of subconscious. We have a deeper subconscious. This is when we dream, and this is when we have past life regression experiences. And alpha is going to be the lighter one. This is what we generally mean when we talk about subconscious, and you get connected to this part as soon as you close your eyes, basically. And then one level above that, we have the highest brainwaves. These are beta. This is the part when we can compare things just in our minds, and we have an idea about ourselves and about other people. So this is, I would say, more complex compared to these lower parts. And this is where we have 7, we have 6, and we have 5 in the middle, and we can call it conscious state. But in reality, this is very misleading, because if we use this, we can devalue people that, oh, you are stupid, you are most connected to your unconscious. But in reality, this actually means that when you are the most aware of one part, so the people who are the most aware of their unconscious part, they are not unconscious, they just have a different type of consciousness. That's why in reality, very psychopathic people can really, I would say, control you, because they're so connected to that part that you are very disconnected from, if you are, for example, connected to your head part. So this is something that we have to be really aware of. And the second thing is that can actually show how you can become aware. And you have to understand that we all go through a developmental phase, and it's going to be, I would say, fully complete when you are at the age of 25, and this is basically when we fully stop. But it doesn't mean you are conscious, because this is what we have, that okay, we get to this conscious state, the brain stops evolving and changing. But in reality, it doesn't matter where you are. It's going to be your, I would say, most natural state from your young age, and it's going to be your unconscious state. And this is where we can see that these lower paths really influence us, that you can only choose one. So this is where this oneness is going to really reflect, that you learn certain things on your own and by the help of the outside world, and you want to reinforce it. You want to, I would say, keep doing it. That these are the things I believe in. Everything else is stupid. I want to, I would say, ignore them. So there is one way of feeling, and there is one way of perceiving things. So this is your unconscious state in reality. And you also have to understand that the head, this is what we are truly doing. We are trying to, I would say, make this work together. So no part is going to be overcorrecting the other one or dominating the other one. So there is a natural way of connection of a certain nervous system part to head part. And what you have to understand is that the body works in a way that it can sense. But in the body, opposites attract, so you can basically sense anything that it starts to be different from you. But the head works in a different way, in the opposite way, that the head likes similarities. So it accepts everything that's already in it. And this is something I talked about a few times when we bring quantum physics into things, that they made a split test theory. That's how everything is a wave and matter, that when you shoot electrons through two holes, if there is no conscious observer, the electrons will go through both holes. But as soon as there is a conscious observer, it's going to turn into matter, and it's going to go through only one. And which one, it depends on the conscious observer. So this is how you can imagine that that's how your mind works as well. That's how your consciousness works as well, that it can only see, it can only perceive what's already in it. That's why you cannot see wholeness, because this consciousness part, this upper part, blocks you. So you can imagine it as a pyramid, that there is one way of seeing, and there is a lot underneath, but you are unable to see it. That's the main reason why those relationships where you feel huge chemistry, so the chemistry is coming from the body, it's coming from the nervous system, you won't be able to be in the relationship, because you will always argue. Because if you are opposites on the body part, you are going to be opposite people, going to be reacting to things in an opposite way. So there is no agreement on the head. There is something that stirs you up in the body part, but the head part is going to make the relationship impossible. But there is a second part of it, that if you understand this, then you will see it as a healing part, that other version of you, who is another person, is going to show another way of behaving that is repressed in you. These are these twin flame connections I keep talking about, that this is actually a chance, this is actually a way how your nervous system, how your holistic self or your subconscious is trying to make you whole. And if you know how to look at this, it can help you to heal. But if you don't know what this is, it's actually going to make you more of who you are or who you were before. And there is another way of breaking this, and it's going to come from a huge pinpoint, that you feel that something is wrong in the world or in you, or you feel some sort of a pain, and you have this wish that you want to change. And this is when you start changing from this rigid self. And generally when we don't know what we want to do, we don't know where to go, we just are doing the opposite of who we already are. So basically, this energy is going to be blocked from here. It cannot attach to this part of the brain and this part of the nervous system. So it's going to be released and it's going to connect naturally to a different part. So this is when you start to, I would say, sense what feels good for you, what you want to do. But there is another version of that you actually already have a blueprint that you like, and you want to make yourself to be exactly like that blueprint. And you keep forcing yourself to become that. So you come from one rigid part that you repress and you create a different type of rigidity, basically a new version of you that you create. And the difference in between these two is that when you do that, you create an external version of you that you believe, so it comes from the head, that is going to be better than who you originally used to be. But when you just reject the idea who you are and you wander around, you actually get connected back to these repressed parts that are already there over there, but they are repressed. So this is a very, very huge difference in between these two, I would say, changing. And if you want to use the Enneagram, the one who is going to follow a blueprint is going to be very, very connected to 6, because 6 is actually learning from the outside world and tries to follow group thinking or someone that they like. And the other one, when you repress yourself or push yourself away, it's going to be more connected to 7, that I want to follow my own, I would say, experiences. I want to find out who I am. And if you want to see how they come down, 7 is going to be more connected to 8, that I don't want the external world to tell me who the hell I am or what should I like. And 6 is going to be more connected to 9, that I don't care how I feel, I don't care what comes up, I'm going to control myself, and I'm going to follow this ideal self who I believe is better than the one I am now. So as you can see, this is where this split in. Should I follow the external world or should I go within the internal world? And in reality, it's not about which one is good, which one is bad. It's just to be someone different than who you are, so you can start comparing. Because Enneagram 6, and I would say especially 5, is not really about just these numbers. It has other options as well. So I would say 6 is very afraid and scans for threats, but it also has another way of operating when it's more healed, and it has the ability to be analytical. And analytical means that you are able to compare. So you can compare how you felt before and how you feel now, because as soon as you move away from one part of the brain you use, you are going to move to another one. So naturally, that is going to be linked to a different part of the nervous system. And this is what happened to me. I moved away from a phobic 6 to a counterphobic 6, and that pushed me into 7. I was really curious who I was, and I was very connected to 8 as well, that I didn't want the external world to control me anymore, because I came from this authoritarian, I would say, society and parenting, and I went against that. So I went against the person I used to be. And this is when you can see the healed part of this, that you have an open mind to accept that other people can have other thoughts and other people can have other experiences as well. So you don't try rigidly force people to see the reality the way you see, but the truth is, it's never going to be perfect. There will be always something that you are going to be biased about, and you have to accept that it's not like, okay, I know how to be and now I'm going to be like that the following day. It takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of, I would say, mental realizations. And this is where we get one level beneath that, and this is the emotional part, that if you were connected to 3, and you repress this version of yourself, you don't allow yourself to behave the original way, then the energy is going to flow away. And this is what happened to me, that I met a twin flame connection who was closer to this part, and I got dragged into 2, and I used to be an Enneagram 3. So I relived basically those nightmares and fears that I had as a child, and life recreated the exact same thing for me. And this is also where you have to understand that this is the part when you move from an unconscious state, that there is only one way of thinking and seeing, you get into a subconscious one, that you move away, you become somewhere different than you used to be. So if you really paid attention, it's the exact replication of our unconscious level, that you have to choose one out of 2. And this is I would say, the reinforcement of our unconscious part, because every other level is basically built upon that you have that belief that only one can be picked. You cannot be a female and you cannot be a male at the same time. At that time it's true, but it's not true forever. And it's exactly the same when we go one level above, that you cannot be both extremes, you cannot be both dualities, that I am dependent on you so much as a 2, and at the same time I can completely reject you as a 3. You can move within love and hate, but it's still some sort of an energetic connection, an emotional connection. Actually, to remove that feeling or overcoming that feeling can be only done with the head. So this is how you can see that these different types of awareness depend on each other, and whatever one cannot do, the other can do. And this is what a basic point of basically wholeness is. And this is what you can do, by the way, when you are both. That you used to be a 3 and now you are a 2. And you use your head to see the similarities. You use your head to be analytical, because emotions cannot be analytical, but your mind is able to recall the memories and able to see the sameness, and that's how you bring them into 4. This is where the self is, and you see them equally, and because you use your head to see that, and that's actually 5, Enneagram 5, that's the one that's on a bias and tries to see everything equally. That's how it sees the equality. It's actually going to bring them together. You see this both selves that you used to be before and now you are at the same time. It becomes active, you bring it together, and that's how you connect this energetic part, and it connects to your mental part, and it creates a Kundalini awakening. So this is where you can see that one part of the triangle is done, but then as soon as you did that, you have the next part, so you have to move down again. So basically you are redoing what you have done as a child. So when you are a baby or a child, depending on the stage, you didn't have the option to have both, because these upper parts that would have allowed to exist both, they didn't exist in you yet. You didn't have those parts, and those parts always come with certain type of hormones as well. But now you are moving down as an adult, so if you move one level beneath that, you will have the exact same chance. So the third part, that's the most unconscious one, is when you were just a few months old baby in the mother's womb and you had to choose between a male or a female, and now you have the chance to actually choose both. But in order to choose both, you have to become the one that you rejected. So for me, because I'm a female, I have to connect to that masculine part that I have rejected a very, very long time ago. So first that has to become active. And only when I fully, I would say, lived it through, there is a way of connecting them. And the connection is going to come from one level above. That is going to be the attachment system. So if you really paid attention to what I'm doing equalization on every level, and I'm becoming the one that is not dominant in me. So if I wanted to type myself, I started as 1, 3, and 6, but then I moved to 7, moved to 2, moved to 8, and then meanwhile moved to 4, and actually even 5 became active as well. So becoming, embodying all of them. So you have the energetic connection. As you have the energetic connection, the unconscious part is going to start first. And the unconscious part means that this energetic self is going to connect to one part of the mind, and that is going to be very, very active. But this is what you have to overcome by remembering what else you already know and being able to compare all of these. And at the very end, there is an option to actually be both here as well. Just as here that you can be 6 and 7 equally, and 5 equally, and 3 and 2 and 4 equally, and you make all of these equal on every level basically. So this is the true meaning of the Enneagram, that it shows what's possible, where you are as of now, and what is basically missing from you. So basically you can start moving down. You always have to start from the top. So the easiest is to start on the head part, because this is the youngest. And if you really think about it, the easiest to change your thoughts, the easiest to include more ways of saying things. And a part here is that you have to start accepting another way of perceiving something. And that other way of perceiving is going to connect to another part of the nervous system. And this is how you start becoming who you truly are. So basically, I'm trying to show the illusion or delusion that we all have. I hope this video was helpful for you, and see you in my next video.